Welcome. You are in the right place if you would like to take client wins that you have already created and turn them into more clients. Okay. When I say client wins, I mean a lot of different things. I think that you might assume I only mean, really well polished testimonials or, these long stories of success. And I would like to burst that bubble and I would like to make sure that you understand how many forms of feedback or nice notes or posts. We're going to go into all the different things that you can use as a client win, and then how we should share those client wins with the world. Okay, not once, but in a steady rotation so that they are always in your content mix. So, in your content plan, and I hope you have one of those. If you don't have one of those, come on in. The water's fine. Let's go ahead and get you set up so that you do have a content plan. Okay. Because if you don't have a content plan, you're planning to fail. Okay. You absolutely need to be organizing your content in such a way that a lot of it, I would say, a good 80% of it is content that is being either retooled from the content that you make each week, or it's being like recycled. And the reason that that works is because if you're doing your marketing right, you always have new people coming into your world. So if you know how you'll hear people use the word funnel in terms of marketing. Well, if you think about people coming from the whole world of people and they're landing on your content and in your offers and they work with you. If we think of that like a funnel, well, if that funnel is working, there's always new people coming in at the top. There's always new people who didn't know about you last week, yesterday, but they know about you today. Okay. And so if we don't have a system for bringing forward the major premises, the mission of our brand, then we constantly have to say the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. Okay. And that's a fast track to burnout. Okay. Of course, your brand's always going to stand for what it stands for. You're always going to be helping people achieve the objectives that you're really good at helping people achieve. And so there will be a little bit of repetition, like the Beatles must have been tired of singing the same song sometimes, but it was their mission to bring that music to the world, right? Your mission, your message, you will always be a stand for that message, but you don't constantly have to repeat some of the 5 pillars of your content. You can keep one new video a week going, and that can become a whole big bunch of content. We'll talk more about that and how you can do that very efficiently in today's session. But that one video a week to keep you, seen as an expert, to keep you providing value in the world, that's just one of the 5 pillars of content. And the people who get exhausted and burnt out and they think content marketing doesn't work or they think social media doesn't work, it's because they're only leaning into one of the 5 pillars. Okay. So that would be like trying to swim with just one arm, right? You've got your head breathing in the water and bobbing. You're doing that part, right? You got one arm swimming, but what? Your other arm and leg is not doing anything? Like, of course, that would exhaust you. You wouldn't get to the other side of the pool without feeling like you're going to have a heart attack. Okay. So if you were with me last week, we did a re-presencing for you. If you didn't know already, we did a walkthrough of the 5 pillars of high profit content. So just in case you missed, I want to walk through and make sure that you remember that. Okay. So there are 5 pillars of any high profit generating content system that a brand could put in place. Okay. The one we talked about all 5. So we introduced all 5 last week. And you can see that on our HealAtScale YouTube channel. So if you're seeing that somewhere else, go to YouTube/HealAtScale. And you will be able to see that video on YouTube. Okay. There are 5. Your evergreen content, that should be you just doing one video a week. And then there is a complete process for disseminating that content across a ton of platforms. So you don't have to do it. You should not do that. Okay. You need to be spending more time healing and less time hustling. So if you're disseminating that one piece of evergreen content instead of using our interest compounding process, that's probably going to exhaust you. It's probably why you're burnt out around your content plan. Don't do that. Okay. Um, then there's offer content where we are intentionally talking about the offers that you sell in your business. Okay. Maybe that's a free consult. Maybe that's somebody was just putting a question in front of me yesterday about their 16-week hormone optimizing program. That might be the main offer that you want to sell. Whatever your offers that you want to sell are, entry level, like free offers, paid offers. Maybe that consult is paid, an entry level package to work with you, or that first consult or something, a 3-month package, a 6-month package, whatever you've got. Those are all your offers. Okay. So there needs to be content that relates to those offers directly and makes an invitation for people to buy from you. Okay. If we don't do that, then that's like paying for a storefront and forgetting to put the open sign on and unlocking the door. Okay. So that lets people know. I'm going to say it this way. If marketing is like building a relationship, having offer content is the equivalent of not landing in the friend zone, right? Like we don't want the pretty girl to think, oh, like we only want to be your friend. No, we actually like are head over heels in love with you. We want the best for you. We want to create a life together. We have to make sure we don't get parked in the friend zone, right? Like Ducky from Breakfast Club. And the girl never even takes into her reality that they're like, oh, this is something different. This person wants something different. We want to position ourselves while we're positioning our authority from the evergreen content. We shuffle in the offer content to know like, hey, like there are ways that you move forward with me, like by investing in what we do. Okay. Like, like I love Apple for all my computer gear, right? Like on my like iPad right here, I got my MacBook Pro over there, I got an iPhone over there. And like, I'm not just, smitten with their design. Like I'm smitten with how everything works together and drops from one device to the other and keeps my life sort of organized. You know what I mean? So I know that it's not just me looking at their beautiful ads. I buy stuff from them. Okay. So you have to keep your offer content in the mix too. The one we're going to talk about today is this one here. Okay, we're going to talk about the client wins. So right here is the one that we're going to focus on today. Okay. And then the other two that we covered last week are hand raisers. Okay. And hand raisers are just in the midst of doing content. Why not mention an asset that you have, an ebook that you have, a video training that you have, something where you could say, hey, you know what? If you want this, you can get this from me. And then you have the option of just delivering that asset on whatever social media platform that you deliver. So for example, if you're delivering it on YouTube or on Instagram or whatever, you can just say, hey, post in the comments that you want it, and then I'll give it to you, or DM me this word and I'll give it to you. And hand raisers are things that you can give away. If you have a fancy funnel built, like if you have your lure, opt-in, lead magnet funnels built, of course you can give those people the link and they can go opt in for it. But if you're hesitant to build a ton of those funnels, I don't even want you to build a ton of those funnels, right? I don't want you to build those funnels until you are certain that there is a desire in the marketplace for that kind of content, for that piece of content. And you can do that by just offering it up via chat or messenger or whatever. And then when you have a lot of proof that people really want that, it's something that they really want to exchange with you and have a dialogue about, then yeah, go ahead and build an opt-in, build a funnel, use it as a tool to get their email on your list, et cetera, et cetera. But you can give it to them in, let's say, a DM, and you can start a sell by chat conversation after that. Okay. So you're not losing the lead by not doing that. You're just validating that it's an asset people really, really want. I call that hand raisers. Okay. And then the final form of content is collaboration. And collaboration can look like a true collab. So like maybe you're on the super highway of health in the functional medicine space and you bring on an expert also on that super highway, but maybe they're in, I don't know, the peptide space or something, or you're in fertility and they are in skincare or something like that, right? Because if you're dealing with a bunch of women who are, struggling with their fertility with you, well, women tend to take really darn good care of their skin, a lot of us, right? So having someone in a different lane, but on the same superhighway of you, that's a collab. So you can grow each other's audience. You can pitch each other's stuff. Sometimes there's even affiliate relationships there. It can be a collaboration like that, or it can be something as simple as maybe you have your Get Healthy store set up, or you have a full script store set up, right? And you can do content that talks about the benefits of a specific product, and then you can link to that product. And then you're making an affiliate commission or your fee that you make on that item. You can do a collaboration that's as simple as that until you're in a position to have big peers in the same, super highway of content as you, that would make sense for you to grow your audience. But that's the 5 pillars of high profit content. And they should all be woven through in a very pre-planned and very delegated way. Okay. We're going to have a workshop on that. So if all of this is feeling foreign to you, and definitely if all of this is feeling to you like, wait a second, I could just do 1 video a week and then all that other content that she has in there and the other 5 pillars. So in other words, the brand leader, I could just do this one. And then everything else, all these other pillars could be could be released. All these other forms of content could be released without me having to do it. And I'm all over that. I want you to know that we are hosting a workshop. Let me get you the details right here so you have it. Okay. This is one of our workshops where you come and you just get shit done, right? This is not a come and learn something. This is a come and get this done so that your 2026 content calendar is clear for you. It's clear for anybody who helps you, whether that's a social media person or if you have an integrator. Okay. On that workshop, we are going to get you set up with all of those 5 pillars. So you'll get the exact spreadsheet that I use, that I give to my mastermind members, that rotates through all 5 forms of that content. You guys, that is huge. Having it all organized, that in and of itself would be huge. But we're also going to create the content outlines for your first quarter in 2026 so that piece here, I said, okay, yeah, like what if we had you create this evergreen piece of content each and every week? You had to do that part, okay? And then the rest could be disseminated across multiple platforms without you having to do that, okay? If you're interested in that, then you're gonna need a process for organizing that content and then delegating, okay? So basically, we call that interest compounding, okay? Interest compounding is a 3, sometimes 4-phase process, okay? You do phase 0, and then your integrator does all the rest of it, and they follow a step-by-step playbook. And you can add tutorial videos in it. So if you're really particular about a certain way you like a carousel made or a certain way you want things done, then you just shoot a tutorial video, and then that your integrator takes that over. We call that a playbook around here. Anything that you want to have accomplished, completed by an integrator, in the exact way that you do it, we just have you film a little Zoom video or a Loom video, whichever one you want to do. And you're like, all right, guys, this is how we do it. And you literally talk through the process. I click here, I do this, I like this color, I like this font, I want it this way. And so you basically have everything done as if you did it, but you're not wasting 3 hours in Canva putzing around with some design, okay? Because that is like $5 an hour of work nowadays with the international economy, that we can get an EA or a VA overseas very affordably. And you're worth $500, $600, $7 an hour. So you're literally stealing from yourself if you don't delegate the process of getting that out. You do one content a week, and then everything else is going to be handled by your integrator, okay? And if you're like, Joy, that sounds amazing, I totally want to do that, but you're saying a word that I don't have, and that is an integrator, a delegate, like someone to delegate to, a helper, okay? If you have not followed our conversation about getting very affordable, high return on investment help, I have been very transparent about the women who helped me find my EA and all of the reasons that I love the way that she does that, the way that she supports them. They're all in one place. They all have rock solid internet. They all work on US time. If anybody gets stuck, they can lean into each other. They have tech helpers. They have people who can come and help them get unstuck as they're trying to do the work for you. And best of all, people in my mastermind, the people who hire these EAs and VAs, they're using the exact same playbooks that I use to get my content out, to get everything done in my business. Okay. So if that's something that you missed, that conversation, and you don't have that kind of help, but you want it very affordably, I'm going to put my Instagram on screen right now for you. That QR code will take you to Instagram. If you're not a QR code person, just go to Instagram and find me. I'm very easy to find. It's at Real Joy Houston. Okay. Cause there's another Joy Houston. She's a wedding dress designer. So real Joy Houston, just DM me the term high ROI help. And then what I'm going to do is like ask you, okay, what email do you want me to do an intro? I will literally have my EA intro you to the owner and get you connected so that you can get help that is very affordable, very reliable, and that will follow playbooks if that's what you want them to do. That's what I do. I have very clear playbooks. They have links to tutorials and, links. How do they log into my YouTube? How do they log in? Like all of that. So I just explain it once. That's very powerful, you guys, because if something happened to my EA, if she wanted to move or she went on maternity leave and she didn't want to work or whatever, God forbid something happened to her, the playbooks are the training. So I don't spend another week, month, 6 weeks, whatever, being like, oh God, damn it, I have to train someone else again. This is so infuriating. No, the playbooks are there. And if my EA finds something in my playbook that has changed because let's say, I don't know, Facebook updated something or YouTube updated something or whatever, and then she lets me know at my sync meeting, and then we change the playbook. So it's constantly being refreshed and updated by the very person who's using it. That in and of itself is a system that is game changing, okay, for being organized, for running your business in a sustainable way that doesn't make you crazy, okay? So if you need that kind of help before thinking about implementing the system, then please use that QR code, DM me the phrase high-ROI help, and I'll know that you're specifically wanting that information. I don't want you to have to write me a long message or whatever. Just say that and I'll know exactly what you need. Okay. All right. I'm going to, one more time really quick. I just want to put this up here for you because this is us disclosing the 5-pillar content system that we use with our mastermind, that we use internally, that we use when we're helping practitioners get to that $1 million run rate, which is 83.3K a month. If you want a $1 million+ business in a year, it's the same system that we're using. Okay. So if you want to come, learn the system, get the spreadsheets to organize it, get the AI prompts and the AI GPTs, the AI agents that collect everything from you in order to be clear about your messaging, help you create all of the content like topic ideas, and then create all of the outlines for your content. I don't think you should be scripted because you'll come across really dry and, that's going to be a huge turnoff for people. So I encourage you to just create an outline and use that as your content. And then that becomes, let me get this out of here for a second. That becomes the one content that you make each week. Okay. And how nice would it be to have all of that just done and planned out for the rest of the first quarter of January? And then when quarter 2 comes, so first quarter is January, February, March. When quarter 2 comes at the end of March, you're just going to do it again and you're going to rinse and repeat and have your new content for every quarter in the year. Okay. All right. That's what we're up to. So today's focus, there's one pillar of content that I mentioned in the last video, and I'll make sure below this video, I link to the previous video in case you want to go through all forms of that content with me. You want to understand exactly what each one of them means, what it looks like. You can link back and go through that whole conversation with me. Okay. But I got some questions about like, wait, what do you mean by client wins? You know what I mean? Are we talking about them, winning some golf game or some sports tournament or something? No. So I'm going to go through today exactly what I consider a client win, what counts as a client win, so you can be clear that all of your testimonials, like all of your client wins, do not have to be some polished video, with perfect lighting and all of that. It doesn't have to be some long written testimonial that you get. You get a ton of client feedback that shares their wins, and you're probably stepping over it. And that is costing you a ton of money. Okay. It's costing you a ton of profits. Why? Because when we go out in the world and we only share the end result of our client wins, okay? So let's say that someone came to you and they wanted to lose 100 pounds, okay? 50 pounds, I don't know, some big amount of money or big amount of weight, okay? And all you do is show the before and after. Before and afters were great, right? Those are great social proof videos. They're great client wins to share. Totally fine. But if someone is feeling so sad and downhearted and really, really struggling with the problem that you've helped other people solve, can you see how it would be really easy for them to be like, oh, that sounds impossible to me? Or like, that sounds so far away from where I am right now that it feels insurmountable. So, like, almost instead of feeling inspiring, it can feel so far away from where they're at right now that it might have them actually feel a little bit defeated. Okay. So that's why when I say client wins, I'm talking about the big things. Yes, that 100-pound loss. Of course, those are obvious. But I'm also talking about the much less obvious thing. Okay. So let's say that you have a 6-week group program for women balancing their hormones. Okay. And people in the very first week, right? Maybe all they have done is chart their moods and when they have a hot flash or they wake up in night sweats, and they're starting to see a pattern. Okay. When they put a post in your Facebook group or they send you a Voxer or chat, a DM or a messenger or whatever, being like, wow, I just saw that there is a method to this madness. You're right. It is my hormonal pattern. I'm starting to see the light. And if I see it, then now I know what the monster is. It's no longer scaring me in the dark. I know what it is. And I can see that by the end of this 12 weeks, there's hope for me to turn this around. That's a itty bitty tiny win, right? It's only like a baby step in the right direction. But can you see how someone who is so mortified by the changes, or maybe don't even know that there's changes in their hormones, can you see how if we share a tiny little win like that, that they're going to be like, oh, wait, if they're starting to see it, maybe all of those symptoms that they just shared in their little story, I'm having all those symptoms. Maybe this person can also help me. Okay. I'm going to give you another example. A lot of you do gut health programs. Okay. And some of you start with either like a rapid relief bundle. Maybe you're just putting them on like, I don't know, like a digestive enzyme or some sort of like a detox charcoal thing at night, whatever. You might have very simple steps at the beginning. So a lot of people who do gut health programs with me, they have the test, like everybody does the test in the prep session or in the first week. And then there's sort of this 3 weeks or so while they're waiting for the test results to come back. And obviously the practitioner is not doing sessions until the tests come back, right? They're having some very basic education about what they can be doing while they're waiting the test results. Some people have a drastic reduction in their symptoms just from the rapid relief bundle, just from reducing the few things that the practitioner guides them to change about their diet or lifestyle. Those initial wins that happen in the very beginning, those wins are tangible wins that other people want. So if, for example, someone is like, oh my gosh, I went to sleep without bloating and pain for the first time in months, that win, as small as it is, right? Maybe their constipation or diarrhea is not resolved. Maybe they still have, skin breakouts as a result of their gut problem. There's still other things to solve. Okay. So they don't feel 100% like they made it to the finish line. But those tiny wins along the way, they are worth capturing and sharing and putting into a rinse and repeat cycle so that they are always kind of shuffled in to your deck of content. Why? Because while some people who are in your world and obsessed with your content, and good on you if you have people like that, okay? Because in the attention economy right now, like that's hard to get people like that. But certainly the people who are newer to your world, they just came into your funnel, they just found you. We need them to be seeing client wins that are big successfuls, big happy celebrations of getting to the finish line. But we also need people to see little wins along the way. Okay. So I want you to get in the habit of creating what I call a story bank. Okay. So you can create a folder. You can do it as simple as in your Google Drive if you want. Okay. And then you can have a Google Drive for all just labeled client wins. Okay. And in these client wins, you can keep a running document of all of the amazing written testimonials that you get. That might be one document. You can also have another collection of screenshots of your phone or your chat message. So like I will put my phone, this is a little hack for you guys. I will put my phone on like, what do you call, where you go into the settings and you increase the font size, right? Because I want whatever the person is texting me, the good news that they're texting me, I want it to be visible if I was to use it in a social media post. So obviously, like a teeny tiny text, I might not be able to share that on social. So I'll go in there, I'll turn the font size up, right? So it's nice and big. And then I will take a screen capture of that feedback, of that positive feedback. Now I will do that on my phone so that I have a phone sized image. If it's a chat, if it's a messenger, if it's a DM, if it's a post in a Facebook group, if even sometimes if it's an email. Okay. Now I can hear in the ether that some of you would be concerned. But Joy, aren't you going to show their name and their face? And that's like nowhere near HIPAA compliant, right? So you're probably thinking like, okay, that's fine for you, but that's not fine for me because I'm in, the health space. Well, first of all, I keep the anonymity there. I only use their first name. If it's if it's a Facebook Messenger and you can see the tiny little bubble of their image, then I have my EA go ahead and put a little bubble over their face where it's super hazed out so you can't see it. And then redact their last name, like put a black line over their last name so that they still have their confidence or it's still confidential. Okay. So you can grab screen captures of all of those things. That counts as a client win. Okay. And then if you organize those client wins into one document in your Google Drive, then what I like to do is I keep them in a spreadsheet, and then the client wins are listed by the last date that they were shared. Okay. And if you have any familiarity with Google Drive spreadsheets, you know that you can sort by date. Right. So then my EA will always keep that column, that list of all the client wins. So I list the client win, right? It would be like, oh, bloating gone after 1 week, right? That might be an example. And then when they click on that, it's going to click to the document that has that story or that image in it, in that folder, in that Google Drive folder. And they're going to take the oldest one that hasn't been used in the longest amount of time. And that's going to be the one that would get released for that day's client win post. Does that make sense? So if we keep a spreadsheet that links to the actual image, or if it's a video testimonial, the video, or if it's a story post, if it's a longer post, if you keep those all in one client win folder and you organize them in a spreadsheet by the last date that they were used. So for me, I track the date that it was created, but I don't sort by that. I sort by the last date that it was used, the last day that it was shared on social media or in email. Okay. So then they just keep coming to the top, right? So the one that hasn't been used in the longest amount of time, that one is at the top. If I sort by date and I have it from, least recent to most recent at the bottom. Okay. So then after I use that one, I change the date to today's date. And then of course that's going to drop it down to the bottom and there's a fresh one up at the top to use. Okay. That's how we can keep our client wins in a steady rotation. And honestly, you guys, if once you have a few of these, right, you might have 5 right now, 10 right now, but as time goes by, you're going to have a lot of little client wins to share. Okay. So if you're rotating through, let's say 40, 50, 100 by the end of 6 months or a year, then the chances of somebody being like, oh, I already heard that, I already heard that success story or whatever, is going to be like almost non-existent. Okay. Plus, I don't find that people tire of hearing good news, you know what I mean? Especially nowadays. Okay. So you're going to have a whole bunch of them to rotate through. So that is what I want you to get in the habit of. Okay. So keep in mind, that's just one of the 5 pillars. Okay. But I want to make sure that you know that you can use a ton of things as client wins. Okay. So let's just go through a few so that you feel absolutely clear and confident about these. Okay. But let's just kind of talk about the types. Okay. So if we're taking the types of client wins, these are client wins. So we'll do it in this color. Okay. What are the types that I want to make sure that you lean into? Okay. Well, I think it's obvious if somebody shoots you a video testimonial, that's amazing. Okay. So this could be like video or written. Okay. And I have something to say about the formula for that. So hold tight. I'm going to give you a formula where your testimonials will switch from people just kind of bragging about you and saying how great you are, but missing the mark. Like, I don't know. I have this issue. We had to train our people how we wanted our testimonials to be. And so we invented something called the Blockbuster Testimonial process. And I'm going to share that with you next. Okay. Because if somebody just rambles on about, Joy's great, Joy's this, she helped me make money, she made systems, da, 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 it doesn't always land with the people who I hope to connect with. Because again, if they're struggling really bad, seeing the end result, sometimes that's not enough to stop the scroll and get their attention. So I'll show you a formula where you can guarantee that you're going to stop the scroll and get their attention, because the Blockbuster testimonial has to start in a specific way that will capture your ideal prospect's attention. Okay. So we're going to cover that next. The other thing that you can do is a case study. Okay. So if you did not get a testimonial, some people, they solve the problem and they're like, woo, I solved the problem. Peace out. And they just like leave your world and you never hear from them again. Right. Anybody have that problem? Like, you've helped people get miraculous results and then they never even bother, even if you send an email to do a testimonial. Totally happens all the time. Don't worry about it. Not your fault. So you can do a case study. Obviously, you're going to drop the name. You're not going to get, break any HIPAA compliance rules, but you're going to say, hey, I want to talk to you about a client named Bob who came to me complaining of this and this and this and this, and he'd spent this much money. What you're going to tell the story without them being there. Okay. And then you're going to share the process that you got to that result, and then you'll share the end result. And that's the happy ending everybody's looking for. Okay. So if you don't get the testimonial, do it as a case study. Okay. I also already mentioned this one, but screenshots. Okay. I'm talking about screenshots from anything, you guys. This can be a DM, a really sweet text message that you get from someone. I find that sometimes my clients in the beginning will send me messages or images or nice notes or whatever right in the beginning when they get it, like start getting wins. And then as they start to make more and more and more, it just kind of becomes old hat and they just forget about it, right? We just get into a groove of doing what we do for them. And those kind of messages don't come in as much unless I ask. So it's really important to capture screenshots of all of those and then incorporate those into your client wins. Okay. And again, you guys, it could be something as simple as, oh, this is finally making sense, or, oh, wow, I just finally saw this start to move the needle. That's fine. Capture them all. They do not need to be polished or perfect. They just need to feel authentic. That's going to be fancy all day long. Okay. And you need to get them then cycled and repeated through your content so you don't let them get dusty on the shelf. All right. So all of those things work really, really well. These are the sort of different types of client wins. Here, we'll just list of these. Okay. So these are the different types of client wins. Probably good if I spell client right. Okay. Different types. Okay. Now I want to go into this testimonial one a little bit, and I want to give you the formula for what we call the Blockbuster Testimonial. Okay, what do I mean by Blockbuster Testimonial? Why do we call it that? Okay, we call it the Blockbuster Testimonial because it's kind of like a 3-act play. It's kind of like a Hollywood movie storyline, right? And the reason that this works so well is because of kind of what I've shared with you before. Some people are in such dire straits with the challenges that they're having that the happy ending seems way too far away. Okay. So if the happy ending seems way too far away, what's going on in their life? They're experiencing pain, problems, symptoms that are overwhelming, all of the downstream consequences that those symptoms cause, right? It might have financial implications, energy implications, relationship implications, spirituality. It has everything, like, right? Our health is everything. So what we want to do is we want to start by asking people who want to give us a testimonial. We want to ask them to deliver it in 3 steps. So if someone says, hey, I had a great experience with you, I really want to write a testimonial, then you want to say, Awesome. Would you mind if I gave you, if I shared with you what exactly works best for me when you do that? And most people who are trying to give you a testimonial are like, oh my God, hell yes, I would love that. That would be great. What works for you? How can I help? Because of the natural tendency for humans to want to reciprocate, right? You do something nice for me, I feel compelled internally to reciprocate. Okay. So we ask them to do this in 3 steps. Okay. It's basically pretty simple. A before, okay, during and after. Okay. And what do we mean by before? We want to ask people, hey, could you please start your testimonial by explaining like what was wrong? Okay. So what was wrong before you even met me, looked for me, found me? What was wrong? So this is them describing, kind of zoom in here so you can see better. Let me make sure you guys have a good view of this. Can you see this well? I'm going to double check yeah. Oh, no, not sharing. There we go. Okay. So the Blockbuster testimonial is where we're at right now. We're talking about this. Okay. So the Blockbuster testimonial, we ask them, hey, would you mind starting this testimonial by telling me what was wrong? What was going on in your life? So basically, you're asking them to describe the pain, right? Maybe they were confused, right? So maybe they had some confusion. Maybe they were frustrated about whatever the downstream consequences. Could you start your testimonial by explaining what was wrong? Okay. So they're going to barf out all of the things that were going on with them. Okay. Then you're going to ask them like, okay, and then what was it like working with me? Okay. So when they found you, what was it like to have that level of support, of clarity, of direction, right? What was it like working with me to get results and getting that momentum to get the medical results that you were after? Okay. And then, of course, friend who wants to give me a testimonial, of course, I want I want to hear, and I want, anyone who might listen to your testimonial and want to work with me, I want them to hear, what were the results? What kind of relief did you experience, right? How do you have confidence in dealing with this moving forward? Okay. So this is act 1, act 2, and act 3. Okay. Now, you guys, we go so far as to recommending that our mastermind members create a page. Okay. I have a page, and it's called this Share Your Story. Or, yeah, I think I have a Share Your Story. That's what I think that page is called. And when you go to that page, it has a super cool little description on there. Like, thanks so much for wanting to share your story. What we have found works well is if you answered these 3 questions. Please start your testimonial by, really just laying on the complaints of what you were dealing with before, and then give a sentence or 2 about what it was like to work with us, and then tell us about the results that you got now. And those are the videos that we get, right? So we get all of those videos. As a matter of fact, the page that we create and we ask our mastermind members to create, it even has a button on the page where if they're looking at that page on their phone, it's gonna, it just takes a video with their phone. If they're looking at it on a computer that has a camera, same thing. Okay. So there's literally a button on the page where people don't have to go find a place to shoot the video. Just like, yeah, just click this button and say these 3 couple sentences about before, a couple sentences about working with me, and a couple sentences about your results, and bam, that's it. Thank you. Amazing. We love that your story might inspire someone else who's suffering like you were to get the results that you already have. Okay. So there are ways to automate this, but you can just ask people to do it if you want to do it manually. But in our mastermind, we definitely like for people to set up that page because it's a no-brainer, right? If someone sends you a DM, a message, an email, and you say, oh, wow, I'm so thrilled to hear that you're starting to see success already. Would you mind sharing this win, or, sharing your success? And you send them the link to that page, and they just click the button and they say, oh man, before I was having this problem, and now I just started working with so and they told me to do this and that, or whatever they want to share about working with you. And then now I've already started to see a reduction in my bloating and pain. Done. It's like, you send one link, they go to that link, they click one button, they have instructions right on the page on how to give those videos. Those are the kind of systems that make me like geeky and happy, because we can collect client wins in such a way that it's effortless and it's flow. It's easy for you, it's easy for them. You can drop that link right in the moment where they're feeling that gratitude for you when they are most likely to say yes. Okay. Now, I want to make sure that you're really clear on exactly why this works. And if you have questions about that, please, you can throw them in the chat for me. But here's the deal. There is a resonance among humans, right? So have you ever like walked by someone and you can feel like, whoa, that person feels angry or off or something, right? You can feel it. Like we're humans. We do have somewhat of an energetic sense of what's going on. If your husband comes home and he has a shit day, you're definitely going to be like, whoa, I can feel that. I can feel that coming off of him. Same with you. If you had a terrible day, he's going to walk in and feel a little bit like, whoa, like what's happening over here? That resonance between all of us, okay? If you are someone, if your client, your prospects are in a state of pain, of frustration, of anger at the system that has cost them a ton of money, but not got them results like you can, if they're resonating in that icky, I'm suffering, I'm dealing with this pain and problem, if they're resonating in that energy, what do you think they're going to need to hear in order to be resonating at that same wavelength with them? Probably they need to hear someone who's suffering like them, right? It's just like that's a resonant match. I'm hurting, I'm frustrated, I'm angry. And when we have a Blockbuster's testimonial that starts off with, man, I was hurting and frustrated and angry, right? Ooh, that's like an insta connect, right? You're like, whoa, okay, we're experiencing the same reality. Okay. So when the testimonial starts with a little bit of the like, man, I was dealing with X, Y, and Z, and that is the first sentence that someone hears when they're scrolling social media, or that's the subject line in a busy inbox, but that subject line is the same A, B, and C problem that your prospect is currently experiencing, they're going to be like, man, that's me. Or like, oh, yeah, I am a resonant match with that. They won't say that to themselves that it's a resonant match, but they will see their own pain reflected back at them. And when they see their own pain reflected back at them, now they can hear act 2 and act 3. Okay. So while I am not at all condoning amazing success stories, I want those to be in there. I do encourage you to lean into collecting some Blockbuster testimonials, sharing case studies through the lens of this 3-act kind of storyline, because there are people who are suffering so bad and need you so much that they need you to start the conversation with the pain piece so they can see the rainbow that gets them across to the, pot of gold health that you can help them create. Okay. So that is the reason that formula can work so amazingly well at getting new clients from sharing the client wins that you have. Okay. That's one reason, is that there's a resonant match. The other reason is this: you can say that you get results all day long. Okay. But if you are not providing any social proof, why should anybody believe you? Okay. Why should anybody believe you? Like, you literally need to have social proof that you are not a charlatan, a fake, a phony. Okay. And when other people are sharing their successes with you, if people are seeing those big before and after wins, they're seeing the medium wins. Oh man, I'm halfway to my goal, right? Or man, my skin used to be, this whole like polka dot. I look like I have the chicken pox. And now I have only a few blemishes. I'm well on my way to clear skin. Like, if people are hearing about the super juicy, beautiful, happy endings, they're hearing about those midway successes and that there's a light at the end of the tunnel and there's already success happening, and they're hearing those early wins. If people are seeing that much social proof from you from other people, they want to get on that same path to having those results that you're so good at getting. Okay. So use the Blockbuster testimonial because it creates resonance. Use client wins rotated through your content formula, your content system. And if you don't have a content system, you guys, remember, like, if you don't have a plan for this, then you're just planning to fail with your content strategy. I'm not having that. You can put a content plan in place, and it's not hard. That's literally why I am hosting that workshop. It's next Tuesday, you guys. So that's what, Tuesday, January 13th. It's from noon to 3 p.m. Pacific time. And it's a get shit done workshop. You are actually going to design. You don't have to design it. I already designed it. Okay. My team already created AI tools and GPTs that are going to make this faster and easier for you. Okay. But here's the deal. If you don't have a plan, you're just planning to fail. So put a system in place. If it's not this system, great. Go follow another system, create another system, but please like have a system to protect your sanity and to make sure that you're not burning yourself out doing content. Okay. You shouldn't be hustling all the time to get your content out. You should just be healing people. That's what you're really good at. Okay. And you can spend a lot less time on the content marketing piece of your business if you have a system in place. Okay. If you have a system in place, and if you have, I think you should have a little bit of very high ROI help. Okay. So if you don't have an EA or a VA that can help you with this, obviously that would land all of that work on your shoulders. And I don't want that for you. Okay. But again, we've already made connections. We've hunted down a great source of help for you. So if you need that, of course, you can DM me. I'll just make sure that this is here. You can DM me over on Instagram and just let me know. And I'll happily do an email introduction for you to get very reasonably priced help, you guys. I think it's $1,500 a month for full-time help. Okay. That's what I have. It's $900 for part-time help. So if you need full-time throughout the month, or if you need just part-time throughout the month, there are very reasonable, highly talented, skilled employees that work on US time with amazing internet. It's awesome. Okay. I've had some disastrous attempts in the past. That's why I'm so committed to sharing this with you, because I don't want you to have to do all the research. I certainly don't want you to have to go through all of the heartbreaking nightmares that I went through trying to find someone amazing. Okay. And guys, like if you find an amazing asset, please like reach out to me and share it. Like we're better together if we share and pool resources that we have found are really useful for us. Yes. Yes. Okay. So if you do not have that system, please consider joining us for the cash flow content system. That again, it's a get shit done workshop. We're going to work together to get your content system built out, all 5 pillars. Okay. So you will have the first quarter content done. So you'll have your next 12 weeks content outlines done for your piece, the one content piece a week that you should be doing. And then you'll understand exactly what is your offer content. You already know now after today, how do I do the client win content? And then we'll touch base on the other forms of content, which are the hand raisers and the collaboration. So by the end of this, you will have the spreadsheets to organize it. You'll have the Google Documents to share it with your implementer, and you will have your outline done for the entire quarter's content using our AI agent that we created. So you're going to ask questions. It's going to ask you a bunch of questions, and then it's going to spit out the answers with you. You're going to refine it together, and then you'll have your outlines for your entire quarter's content done. Okay. And then you'll see the delegation process. If you decide, yeah, I see what Joy's saying, that's not the best investment of my time, I do need to delegate this. You'll see the entire delegation process in case you want to replicate it exactly the way that we do. Okay. Again, that's happening Tuesday, January, what is that? 13th. Yeah, Tuesday, January 13th, noon to 3 p.m. Pacific time. Okay. So let's go ahead and recap and make sure that you're picking up what I'm putting down. And if you have any questions about this, please like post them in the chat, DM them to me. I'm very accessible. You can get a hold of me and my team. We're easy to get a hold of to get your questions answered. But I want to make sure that you understand a few things. And I want to make sure that we recap this for you just to kind of tie a bow on it. Okay. So first things first, this client wins that I want you to share, those client wins can be all different forms of content, right? So we talked about, let me move this out of our way. I'll leave this here in case you need the details of the event. Okay, I'll keep the notes up here up above. Okay, so we talked about those client wins can be testimonials, like written testimonials, video testimonials. Okay, those client wins can be a case study. So somebody didn't give you a testimonial, but you want to share their story anonymously, of course, to be HIPAA compliant so that you inspire other people. It can be even as simple as screenshots on your phone, on your desktop of Facebook group chats, DMs, anything like that. And then, of course, you'll blur out their image and you'll redact their last name to make sure that you have all the privacy pieces covered. Okay. So those are all different forms of client wins that you can share. When you're getting testimonials, when someone reaches out to you to provide one, please ask them. If they're reaching out to say they want to give it to you, say, oh, I would be honored to take that and to share it with other people who might, I might be able to help get the same results that you got. Would you do me a favor? And when you shoot that brief video, give me, a sentence or two about your struggles before you found me, a sentence or two about what it was like to work with me, and a sentence or two about your results. Like brag away, like tell me what happened, because I have found that that's what actually resonates with people and gets them to come in and get the same results with me that you and I were able to achieve for you. Okay. So that's the formula that I want you to use for your client wins. All right. Now, the final piece that I would say is that you have to rotate them. Okay. Because if you get it and you just like one and done this, you're like, okay, I did it. I put that testimonial out. You're literally losing the opportunity to get more clients from the client wins, the client successes that you have already created. Okay. So I know you guys, you're kind, you're generous, you're humble. Okay. And sometimes that humbleness can stop you from go brush your shoulder off. Like you did it. You changed people's lives, you guys. You changed the quality of their future. Do you hear that? You change the quality of their future. So if you share a testimonial one time and you don't share it in a different format, right? Like remember how I said you can take screenshots on your phone, you can take screenshots on your desktop, you can do all different ways. Well, a testimonial can be released as a carousel. It can be released as a video, like a short form video. It can be released as a long form case study testimonial on your YouTube channel. Like I want you to get outside the box and think about, oh, how can I share this stories in different way and different formats? And then once those formats are created, you organize them in a spreadsheet. You rotate, okay, what was the date that I last used it, right? And then you're going to keep those rotating through. If you don't rotate through, you are missing out on so much money that you deserve. It literally makes me feel queasy, okay? So share your wins. Share them often, share them in rotation. And remember that the client wins are one pillar. Okay. So the client wins right here, this one right here, they are one pillar. You notice that I put them in the middle because to me, sharing social proof is the thing that connects what we do in reality to make it real in other people's reality. Okay. So we can say that we get this result and that result all day long. But when they hear it from you, you talking about your content, establishing yourself as an expert, but then when they also see that expertise interspersed, like think of it like a deck of cards, right? Like you're only one suit of cards. You're going to be the hearts. Okay. And all these other pillars of content. I know there's only 4 suits in a deck, not 5, but just bear with my shitty example. Okay. So like when they see your content, that's this one over here, okay? When they see your wonderful, awesome content that makes them respect you and see you as an expert, and that is shuffled in with client win content that shows, oh my God, look how many of these people love this expert because obviously they get them results and they helped them change their life. So, oh my gosh, that adds validity, right? And then we never get into the friend zone because we also have our offer content. Okay, so we are sometimes doing content about the very thing that we are selling. For example, like that here, this right here, this workshop, that is a workshop and it is a $95 workshop. Okay, so you'll attend that workshop. You're going to get all the assets that I use that we give to our mastermind members. That's a big investment to be in that mastermind, right? And for $95, you're going to get all of those assets and all of the training to execute the same system that people in a very high-end mastermind are using to get and keep on their $1 million track for their business. Okay. They are all doing the 83.3 K a month. That's the track that they are all on. Okay. So you're going to get that system. That's an example of offer content. Like, am I teaching you something today? Yes. Okay. But is that also I mean, this video wasn't just about that, right? Like this video wasn't specifically only about the offer. I'm teaching you about client wins because this was something that I got questions about after last week's session. People are like, wait, what do you exactly mean by client wins? So I wanted to circle back and cover that. But in a way, this could qualify as offer content too. Do you see it? Right? Because I'm not like, I don't here to be your best friend. Like, obviously, I run a business and I make money and I have a family and I have kids and it, costs money to do all of this fancy stuff that you're seeing right now, all these video things and all like I'm not going to land in the friend zone with the clients who need me. They know that they can come to me and they can make more money. And those who do stay with me for years because the investment that they pay every year more than pays for itself, 10, 50, 100x in what they pay me. So of course they're happy to stay year over year. Okay. So offer content just keeps it clear to my audience that I am not, a humanitarian organization. I'm a business. Okay. I'm a businessman. Okay. And then hand raisers, it has to be shuffled in with all these forms of content. Okay. So just reminder, we covered this one today, but my final notation for you is that's not enough, right? You can't just do one of the 5 pillars. You also need to incorporate all of these, right? So we need the evergreen content. We need the offers so you don't get in the friend zone. Obvi, we covered this today. You need that. We also need hand raisers because this one is going to get you tons of elevation in engagement and it's going to drop you right into SBC, sell by chat. Okay. The moment someone messages and says, hey, yes, I want that supplement chart that you passed out that I could put on my refrigerator so I know when to take what with food, without food. That sounds so helpful. I get overwhelmed. Great. You're going to deliver them that asset in the chat, and then you're going to start a sell by chat conversation in which you get them talking about, well, what are you taking all those supplements for? Tell me about what's going on. Maybe I have some more resources that can help you. Ooh, right? You get them talking about themselves, their pain, their problem. Get them saying what's going on, what their struggles are, what their frustrations, what they've tried so far, and then ask them the magic words. Do you need my help with that? When you give people a hand raiser, not only do you get this awesome bump in engagement, because any of you so you guys saw me share my Instagram, right? So you saw me put up my Instagram QR code. You might go over there. You might DM me, hi, ROI help. Okay. So you're watching this video right now on whatever platform you're watching this on. But if you want that asset, you also went over to Instagram, you DM'd me and we're chatting. Okay, so now you're consuming content on whatever channel you're consuming it on, and you went to a different channel, and now we're engaging on that content. Do you think that's good algorithmically for me and my brand? Yes, and I always practice what I preach. This is what I want you to be doing too, okay? I want you to be following in the footsteps. I want you to have the same success that I have had. I want you to make as much, if not more, than me, okay? Because what I do is marketing and what you do is change the scope of people's future, right? The quality of their life, okay? So if you ask me, you guys deserve to make more money than anybody else, okay? So I want you to see what I'm doing and I want you to mimic it, okay? And then the final one is collaboration. And this can start simple, but what this is going to do is it's going to start making you small sales. So that might be sales of supplements like in your or products or service, anything that you might sell in something like your Get Healthy store or in your Full Script account, or maybe you have an affiliate relationship with a red light therapy or a cold plunge or a sauna. Like I want these things to start making like tiny money. Okay, little bits of money at a time. So they do help bring in profit and they also drastically expand your network. Okay. And the way that they expand your network is, let's say that you and I did a collaboration about you and what you do. Well, now you're going to be seen by all of my audience because I'm going to email about that. I'm going to social media post about that. And then we're going to be on together. So now you just got put on a pedestal in front of my audience. Now more people know you. They're probably going to follow you. They're going to email you. You might even sell them stuff. Okay. And conversely, your audience, you will have promoted and emailed and put on social media that you and I were doing something together. And so I might be in front of people on your audience who didn't know who the hell I was, which is also good for my audience. Do you guys see it? So when you put this entire system together, that's when you get the magic of the cash flow content system. That's the magic. So one pillar on its own, not going to do it. Okay. It's the way that they work synergistically together. And then you rotate through that content. You just rotate through that content. So if you've got, I don't know, let's say there's 52 weeks in a year and you did a video a week. Well, in your second year of business, you've already got 52 videos in the can. Okay. So if you wanted to, I don't know, go away to Thailand for 3 months, you could pull 12 weeks of content videos recycled from stuff that you already have that is good quality content of you, your voice, no AI, nobody else making it up, right? And you would have that repository of content to rotate through. Can you see how it is a system which can feel restrictive? Systems can feel very restrictive. I get it. But it fucking sets you free. Okay. Like it is a system that frees up your time. It frees up your life. It gives you higher profitability and a shit ton more freedom about wherever you want to be, whenever you want to be there. Okay. Because once you have, imagine yourself with a spreadsheet, just for a second. Imagine yourself with a spreadsheet that your team, your EA, your social media person, whatever, has access to. Okay. And in this spreadsheet, there are 5 tabs. And you're going to get this spreadsheet when you join us for this workshop right here. Okay. You're going to get the exact same spreadsheet that I use. You can see mine. You can ask questions. You can see how to do this even better. Okay. Your team would have this spreadsheet where there's 5 columns and they've got all this repository of all of your evergreen content, of all of your offer content, of all of your client win content, of all of your hand raiser content, and of all of your collaboration content that you've ever done in the last 6 months, year, however long you've been doing it. Okay. That's plenty of content for people to rotate through. So it slowly like lowers the pressure on you to be a constant like hamster wheel content creator, if that makes sense. Okay. I'm going to answer this question. Ryan is asking, I assume there's no point in signing up if we can't participate live due to another unbreakable commitment at the same time. Oh no, that's not so. Anyone who signs up for the workshop, you get access to the workshop recording. We do 30 days of access, Ryan, because we find that the practitioners who actually get off their ass and do it, like they make a really high ROI on that. And then we get lots of great testimonials and great interaction and more friends on the same boat. You know, I'm a big better together believer. So if you can't make it with us live, that's okay. But what you do need to do is take your calendar and you need to block 3 hours. And then you will just pause the video of me and my team teaching you the stuff. And then you'll pause and you'll use the GPT. So in the video, you'll see all of us using the GPT together. There are AI GPT tools that you're going to be using. They're custom created AI agents. Okay. And the difference between AI and AI agent is just doing more complicated things that stack on top of each other rather than just shooting the shit with your typical AI tool, like your ChatGPT, your Gemini, Manus, any of those things. Okay. Manus just got bought by Meta today. I'm like, ooh, I want to know all the details about that. I'll follow up. Okay. But you'll be interacting with those AI agents. So what will happen if you can't make the workshop is you will get access. So it's usually 24 hours after the workshop is done. Then you'll get an email that says, hey, you joined the workshop. Whether or not you made it and you want to revisit it, or you couldn't make it and you want to do it on your own, you get access to the entire training and the AI agents. Okay, so you'll get access to the same exact tools and then you would use those. So my request is, if this is a system that you want to put in place, yay, like high five, bro, I want you to do that. Okay, I get it. Like you guys there is no right time to do this for doctors, for health professionals, for anybody, honestly. Because I have people outside the health space that are like, all right, I want to come because I need that for my business and it's not health related. I'm like, come on in, the water's fine. It's a system. It works for whatever brand you want. Okay. I get it. There's no perfect time for everybody. So we host the workshop, then within 24 hours, all of the assets are encased in a private page only for people who enrolled in the workshop. You have access to that for 30 days. You do it. Okay. So you block 3 hours on your calendar, you get through it. If you have questions that were not answered in the workshop itself, DM me, message me, email me. I'm here. Like people who invest in our workshops, in our programs, certainly in our mastermind, like that's what I wake up to jump out of bed and serve every day. So like you don't have to physically be there with us if you don't want to, or if you can't do that because you have another commitment. Totally makes sense. Okay. So whether or not you can make it live, my recommendation is that you put a plan in place. Okay. When there's no plan, in my opinion, you're just planning to fail, right? If you don't have a system, you're at risk for burning yourself out. Okay. Why wouldn't you want every juicy, badass, awesome piece of content that you make to be in a pool of content that is cycled through, that is repeated, so it gets used over and over and over for the people who are just coming into your world? Okay, just coming into your world. Is there the chance that someone who's been, stalking you and is your greatest fan, is there the chance that they see a repetition of something in some slightly different form? Yeah, there is. But that's not a turnoff for people. It's typically not a turnoff for people who already love you, who are already a raving fan because they want to see you succeed. But it's definitely necessary because you have people who are constantly coming in, top, middle, bottom of funnel. You're always getting a flood of new people, assuming you have a marketing plan that's working, right? So if you make it, don't worry, you can watch the recording. If you have questions, DM them to me, okay? Fair warning, this cash flow content system works best when you relieve yourself of the pressure of doing all of the content, remixing, releasing on other channels. Okay. So you will see the process called interest compounding, taking people's interest and compounding it on all different platforms. Okay. You will see the interest compounding process, which is designed to be passed off to a high ROI helper. Okay. So EA, VA, whatever you want to call it. If you already have a social media person, they certainly could do that for you. Okay. But keep in mind that this is not for the people who are like, I'm just going to go ahead and make every post in Canva and it's not realistic. It's just not realistic. So I want you to know that even if that's you and you're like, I'm just going to wing it and try to do it myself for 3 months, you are going to be encouraged to drop that control because you're stealing from yourself. Okay. When you spend 1 hour doing a $5 an hour task and your billable rate is $500, $600, $700 an hour, you're literally robbing money from yourself, from your own bank account, from your family. Okay. So this system is designed for you to delegate a very specific chunk of this work. All right. Okay, I think we covered client wins. Okay, so thank you so much for the questions from last week. You're like, hey, I don't exactly know what you mean. So thank you. Thank you for that. I'm always happy to go deeper, circle back, make sure that we're providing content that's really helpful for you. So I appreciate that. I think you guys get it now. Okay, client wins can be everything from a, before and after picture of somebody's skin being, a horrible hot mess and then being glowing and beautiful, or, being obese, like grotesquely overweight, and then they get back to their ideal body weight. Amazing. Those are great client wins. But don't forget about the little wins, the tiny little baby steps along the way, and those midway successes. I want you to share all of them, okay? And I want you to share everything from, yay, polished video testimonials, awesome, if you can get them, okay? But I also want you to share little text messages that you got that someone had a small win. All of that is client wins. All of them are worth celebrating. All of them can get you more clients from the clients that you're already helping. Okay. When you're ready to put the client wins into play with the other 4 pillars in the 5 pillars of high profit content, join us for the workshop. It's going to be so much fun, you guys. I love these workshops because we get to play together and there's no sitting in the bleachers, right? Like everyone is getting it done together. And anybody who gets stuck, what happens is we have like a breakout room and then we have our member success coach in there. Okay, we're going to get you unstuck. Okay. If you were like, wait, I'm 1 step behind, I'm 2 steps behind. Great. We're going to plop you in the breakout room and she's going to help you get unstuck. And then you're going to get back on the bus with all of us. Okay. So this is not a come and consume. I'm not really your shelf help kind of gal where like you buy this from me and then you don't put it into play. Like that's not fun. That doesn't do anything. Okay. So this is for people who want to come, they want to get shit done together. And if you can't do it together, then you're going to, within 24 hours, have access to the full recording, all the AI agent GPTs. You're going to use them yourself. I'm going to have you pinky promise me that you will block 3 hours on your calendar so you get it done just the way that we're going to get it done together for those of you who join live on the workshop. All right. Any questions, reach out to me. More than happy to answer. I will speak to you all very soon. Take care. Happy New Year.